So you guys are all here because what we're going to talk about tonight is good stuff. We're going to talk about how to start your own RIA. This is, by the way, the RIA Masterclass. So what we do once a month is we basically go through what it takes to launch your own firm to see if you're ready. Everybody's not built to run their own firm, and that's okay. So since I've done it for myself and several of my other clients, I don't mind sharing that with you, some of the wins and some of the losses on that. So today, I'm going to be referring to a document I created that if you're in the community and you have signed up for the 10 steps to RIA launch, you probably have a copy of this or a previous version of this. I'll just be honest. I don't remember if I loaded the current version that I'll be using today. And matter of fact, RIA Mini is a registered investment advisory firm. So we're going to be working from this tonight. And I'm just going to be going through the thing that I created. Like, why not? I created it. So we'll walk through these steps. There's 10 of them. Some of them I won't spend as much time on because they don't require it. But what I want you to realize is the steps that would require you, or that you are required to go through in order to launch an RIA. I've kind of tried to streamline it, right? Because there's a lot of information out there on the web about, consultants, and I'm one of those, and, all the RIA in a box and all the different things. And I've gone through several launches. And so I just put that all together because I love to help people in this regard. I will say also that stick around to the end. I will have an offer for you. We are doing another RIA Launch Academy in October. Yay! So if you are listening to this and you don't want to do this by yourself, that's what the RIA Launch Academy is going to be all about. Okay? All right, so let's get into the content tonight. And I apologize. I'm drinking a little something and I'm snacking because I haven't eaten yet. Okay? So y'all just, just kind of like, we're family here, okay? So it should be okay. Your boy's like back is hurting, sitting in his chair. He's a little out of his element. Y'all work with me tonight, okay? Y'all give me a little grace. Will y'all give me a little grace? I would really appreciate it. Okay. I might not be as animated as I normally am either. All right. What's up, Coach Bill? Coach Bill, just got a chance to meet Coach Bill through the Make the Leap Challenge. Enjoyed it, sir. Enjoyed meeting you, that is, and definitely wish you the best. Thank you for hanging out. All right, so let's do it. Mastering the RIA launch. I just want to say something about that real quick. Opening your firm is by far the easiest thing to do. Huh? What, Dominic? It is. It's the easiest thing. Like, you will get through the talks with the regulator. You will get through the documents, even if they ask you to revise them. You will get through the FINRA portal. We're going to go through all this, by the way. You will get through all this. This is the easy part. The harder part is that you're starting a business. And in order for your business to be staying in business, to be viable, you need people coming in the door. You need clients. You need people that want to work with you, that want to pay you what you're worth. And so this part that we're going to go over tonight is crucial. It is the first step. You can't market your services unless you're legit and you have your own RIA. You can't market yourself as a registered investment advisor unless you have an RIA, right? But after that's done, and I've done launches as quick as 60 days. Actually, I take that back. As quick as 30 days. So it doesn't take a long time. But after that, you have a legitimate business where you need to create workflows and you need to create procedures and you need to create a marketing plan to get people in the door, and you need to be able to take care of them to deliver on the promise that you made when they signed up. Okay? I just want to make that clear. because the RIA launch part is the easy part to me. The making sure that people are taken care of and those people that are continually coming through the door is a harder part. And this is the reason why we do the RIA Launch Academy, because it's not just about launching your firm, it's about putting in the marketing spot or the marketing stuff for your firm to be successful, okay? So I just want to make that clear. We're going to go through the 10 steps of launching your firm tonight. That's all we'll have time for. But the after, make sure you stay with me so I can show you how you might want to do that. Okay. So first of all, you have to form a business entity. That's your first step. You got to get an EIN. An LLC will do. Now this step is, you're going to have to do some research probably, especially if you have one of those names, you know, like a really common name like Eagle Wealth Management. You might have to do a search on your Secretary of State website for your, wherever you're domiciled at, wherever your state that you live in, just to make sure. I did this, and the reason why I say this is I did this at first. I can't even remember the name. It was like Integrity Wealth Management was going to be the name of my firm, but somebody else was using that name. So it's important to do this search first. There's a reason why I'm telling you this. I know there's a lot of verbiage on this slide, but I'm just going to cut to the chase because a lot of this is understanding business structures and understanding what type of business structure you want. But here's the deal. Do your name search first before you buy a website, before you start doing marketing, before you start picking out colors and all that kind of stuff. Do your name search first. Your legal entity is going to be important. Now, you could do a DBA. That's fine. But the point is doing business as is what I'm talking about. But an assumed name. Your legal entity, I think you do well to go pick that first and then let that drive everything else you do afterwards, right? The EIN that you're going to get from the IRS website will be that legal entity. So go do the name check first. Make sure that it's not being used in your state, because that's where you're going to, I'm assuming that you're not doing an SEC registration. You're going to be doing a state registration. So make sure that it's not being used in your state and then proceed. There's a lot of people that jump the gun and go get the EIN and then the LLC or the name is taken and then they have to go redo that. I'm trying to save you some steps. Okay. So I hope that helps. All right. Now, I was going to talk about legal entities. If you guys have questions about legal entities, let's circle back. Like, put those in the chat and let's circle back. Okay, I want to make sure I get through all these steps because it's already 10 after 6. Okay, then you're gonna, once you get your legal entity, then you'll be able to open and fund your bank accounts, right? So we got legal entity open, and now that legal entity, which is going to have our articles of incorporation, and you probably get a stamp from the Secretary of State that says your legal entity is good. Like, let's call it Integrity Wealth Management LLC is good. It's open. Now you can go take that and you can go to Bank of America, Wells Fargo. You know, I wouldn't go to those, but you can go to some bank, open up a business account, fund that business account, because that'll come in another step. But you're gonna have to fund that business account for the regulators' purpose, because you got to run financial statements. You got to run a balance sheet. You got to run a income statement sometimes. Even if there's a zero balance and all of that, it's got to be a certified balance sheet. A lot of states require that. So you're going to go ahead and open up your business accounts. You're going to go ahead and fund those. You'll have your EIN by this time. And I think, you know, the types of accounts you open, just get a checking. You know, like hopefully that's helpful in regards to, like, should I open this type or should I open that type? You just need a regular type account. Now, you will need also those financial statements. So I have liked Wave Apps. That's where I started. Wave Apps is financial software. I have it on this slide if you can see. Wave App is financial software that's free, that will allow you to run, like, you can hook up your bank account that you just opened and you funded, and then you can run a balance sheet that you can then you can run that balance sheet, go up to UPS or somewhere, get it notarized, and now you have your certified balance sheet, okay? So yeah, you only need one account, the Luck Show. You don't need to open up a ton of accounts. All you need is one account, okay? Step 3, then you're gonna research your state requirements, okay? So I have inside my community, I have a checklist. Maybe I could pull this up real quick. I don't want to spend too much time on this. But I have a checklist. State requirements. There we go. I have a checklist, as you can see, for every state. I think, is this showing? I think it should be showing. Yeah. Every state and a link to what they require, right? So like if you're in Texas, this should hyperlink directly to Texas's website for all the requirements you're going to need as a registered investment advisor. So whatever state you're in, you're going to have to go do that. Okay. You have to go do that research unless you download the 10-step checklist and then it's there for you. Every state is a little bit different. Okay. I'm going to give you some parameters by which they are the same. Okay. So you're going to need a Series 65 at a minimum. That is a test you can take here in the US that is offered by the North American Securities Administration, Securities Administrators Association. So they do the Series 7, the Series 6, the SIE, all those things, right? So you're going to do a 65, okay? That's going to be the bare minimum. Now, there's other combinations like a 66 or CFP or CHFC, and I may have a slide that I go over that, but I'm just giving you that right now. So you're going to have that. Then you're going to have the probably that certified balance sheet. You're going to have your legal entity, articles of incorporation. You're going to have documents, okay? And we're going to go through the whole slide on that. So the research of the state requirements is important because everybody is not the same. We wish there was a uniform standard, like when you do an SEC registration for each state, but each state is each state. So they get to do whatever they want to register you. And you just have to go and talk to we have to go and do the research of the requirements, and then you have to talk to that particular regulator when it comes to opening up your firm, okay? Do you still have to take the SIE first? So the SIE is a test, the Securities Industry Essentials Test is a test that you only have to take if you're gonna work for a broker-dealer. Opening an RIA is not working for a broker-dealer. You're not under a broker-dealer. You're gonna be your own independent investment advisor. So the hierarchy here is you're gonna form your firm, which is gonna be your registered investment advisory firm. This is probably a good segue to do this real quick. So let me just show you something. Lux show, because I don't think everybody knows this. Okay, so here is the website that your firm will be on after you register it. So once you register your firm, you're gonna see like how my firm is on here. DJ's Capital Management. There I am, right? Okay, you see I'm an investment advisor. Okay, and under my CRD is Dominique Henderson. Okay, so that just means that I can now go under here and there's me, right? Investment advisor. So I am an IAR of DJH Capital Management, which is the RIA, which I own 100% of. So that's how you're going to be registered, and all your stuff will be here once you start registering. Okay, hopefully that helps. Next, you're going to open and fund your FINRA entitlement account. So this gets a little weird, and that's just because FINRA's website they've upgraded it, but it's not the easiest, right? So this is the gist. You'll open up your entitlement website. That is what gets you all this stuff that I just showed you on here. This doesn't happen. What you're seeing on this screen doesn't happen until you open up your FINRA website. Your FINRA entitlement account. You fund it because the state of Texas or wherever you live, they're going to say you need to pay $250 for your RIA. You need to pay $75 for any IAR under there. You put that money in there, and once your account is funded, then they will start, the regulator for Texas will start to look at your paperwork, all your documents that we're going to talk about in just a second, okay? So that has to be done first, Okay, so this is where people that I work with that are registered with a broker-dealer firm have to disconnect from that firm. That's why the next step is file your U4. So if you're with the firm, if you're registered with a firm right now, and like a broker-dealer, like you got your 7 and 66 somewhere, or your 7 and 65, or 6 and 63 and whatever, you're registered with the firm. And you cannot be duly registered and open up your own firm. So you have to file what is called a U5 to terminate from that firm and then file your U4 with your firm. That's how that works, okay? Now, sometimes you need fingerprints, and that depends on state and all this other kind of stuff like that, but we won't go into that tonight. But that's how that works. You got to disconnect from one mothership and hook up to another mothership. Can't be duly registered at 2 different motherships. It doesn't work like that, okay? Okay, I'm looking at the comments and I'm going back and forth. So then that happens, okay? Step 6 is you got to complete your licensing exam. So I've kind of mentioned this before. So at a minimum, you have to have a Series 65, okay? So let me just go back to state requirements. So let's just say somebody throw out a state like, Don, are you still here, Don? You're in Connecticut, right? So let's look at Connecticut real quick. So in Connecticut, if Don wanted to register an RIA, this is what he has to do. He has to file his Form ADV, which we're going to talk about that in just a second. All right. He's got to remit his fee. So this is what I was telling you. So you got a $340 fee for his RIA, his investment advisory firm, and each IAR is $125. He's got to file his Form U4, like I talked about. Looks like Connecticut has a Connecticut supplement. So this is something you have to do that I've never seen this before, but this is Connecticut. So Connecticut is asking, they want a supplement. Then they want financial statements plus a completed registered certificate. Then they want an investment advisory contract. We'll talk about that in just a second. They want any advertising and sales literature that may be filed, any advertising and sales literature. So I guess anything that you have out there that is advertising your services, they want to approve that first, looks like. And then they have, if you have an assumed name. So let's just say you have integrity. I'm sorry, that's a bad example. Let's say you did Don Wilson LLC, doing business as Integrity Wealth Management. This Form DBA is likely what you would need to file if you're going to file like that, like Don Wilson LLC, doing business as Integrity Wealth Management, okay? So why did I say I was going to do that? Oh, yeah, so then I'm trying to look on here to see licensing requirements. But, oh, there we go. It's experience. I'm sorry, I'm having to look over my iPhone to read this. But Series 65 is a minimum. I don't see it on this sheet. It's probably somewhere here. I just don't want to waste time looking for all this stuff. But Series 65 is going to be the minimum. And obviously you can do personal financial, let's see, CFA, Chartered Financial Analyst, CFP, Certified Financial Planner, CHFC, Chartered Financial Counselor, PFS, Personal Financial Specialist. I think this is what that stands for. And then there's another one. I always forget it. So those are the ones that you can, if you have those, you can file your RIA. If you don't have those, can't file an RIA, okay? Went through compliance and okay, now we're gonna create your firm doc. So at a minimum, you need to do these. ADV Parts 1. The ADV Part 1, and we're gonna go back to mine real quick so you guys all know what these look like. And we go through all this in RA Launch Academy, just like we go through all of it, like literally, just so you know. I'm going through this super fast right now, of course. I just want to show you what these documents look like, so you know so you'll know when you see them. So view latest form ADV filed. So, I forgot it does this. Okay, So this is the filing. That's the ADV1. The Part 2 brochures are this. Okay. It's that plain English is what they call it. The plain English of the ADV1. And then sometimes you have to do supplements like 2B and 3. And it just depends on the state and how big your firm is and if you got more people and all these other things. You don't always have to file this, but it's always good to prepare a compliance manual for audits, for future audits. So all my clients, I help them with preparing policies and procedures manual that includes their ethics, compliance standards, operational standards, all those things. And then you're going to want to have your investment advisory contract. Okay, that's the two most important things. Not to say that all of them is important, but the two most important is going to be your ADV and your investment advisory contract. Your ADV comes in several parts, as we talked about. You got your 1 and you got your 2A. That firm brochure needs to tie exactly to your investment advisory contract. They're going to be looking for any discrepancies between those two documents. Okay. And I'm sorry, I forgot about LinkedIn. LinkedIn, if you're watching, hey, what's going on? I'll be checking comments every so often. LinkedIn's a little different. It's a little wonky. I can see comments coming in real time on YouTube. Is there a certain amount of time you would recommend learning under a BD before going the RIA route? So I talked to somebody today about this. So this is just a parenthetical, and this goes into just a little bit of the marketing before we go into step 8. All of what we're going through tonight, I would say 99% of the people you're going to be working with don't know what the flip we're talking about right now. They would not have a clue. It would be so far over their head and so much into the minutia that it would just probably bore them and turn them off. Why do I say that? Well, all these behind the scenes things are just things that the financial industry makes, hoops they make us jump through so that we can be legitimate. The bottom line when you want to talk about your learning and your experience is how good are you solving someone else's problem? How good are you finding solutions to their problems? The bigger the problem, the bigger the paycheck. Now, if you want to sit under a BD or anybody else's tutelage and learn before you launch, I think that's a great idea. But how long is kind of up to you. And it depends on what you're learning. If you're learning a very, nuanced skill like how to create a family bank with a cash value life insurance policy, something that I teach my clients, then that might take a little while. But if you're learning how to do budgets or just term life insurance or how to do 401k rollovers, it didn't take that long. So it really depends on what you want to do, top comment, in regards to serving people. I would say you're going to want to line up your proficiency, how well you do something, or how willing you are to learn how to do something really well, so well that they can't ignore you, and your passion. And when those crosshairs meet is the sweet spot. And that's where you want to get. Okay. What is going on, Alonzo Hall, the All-Star Advisor? Thank you for joining us. So does that help, top comment? Hopefully it does. I'm not a big just sit under people infinitum for no reason. Like, go research your target market, see what they need, see why they're even wanting to work with a financial professional, and then go get really good at what they need. Because all you need is like 50 to 100 families paying you an average of $5,000 a year. That's a pretty good start in living. All right. So you're going to create your firm documents, okay? And then you're going to create your firm workflow. So this is getting into what I talked about at the top of the hour here about you're going to want to create. So somebody comes in the door, new client. What happens? What happens when you take that discovery meeting until they become a new paying client, and then how do you take them from new paying client all the way to raving fan, that they're willing to refer you to their friends and their close circle because the service is so good. Like, that's this part. You got to put things into place. What's your CRM? What's your follow CRM, customer relationship management system? What type of, maybe project management system will you use? What type of automation are you going to be using? At some point, I remember sending like all my tech stack, like my workflows, like how I make it work. Because I've just had a virtual assistant for the 8 years I've been in business. I've never had a full-time person. I've automated a lot of things in the background that makes it look like I have somebody, but I don't. So all those things need to be nuanced and calibrated for your firm, because it's your workflows, it's your clients. You have an experience that you're trying to deliver to them. Now, granted, there's some templates out there that you can use. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, but you're going to want to customize it for what you want to do. For instance, I have a workflow that every Mother's Day and Father's Day, everybody that's a father or a mother that's a client of mine gets a text from me, just a customized, personalized text to wish them happy Mother's Day. Well, one of my clients that received that text was at brunch with her girlfriends on Mother's Day. And it was just like, who texted you, girl? Oh, this is from my financial advisor. Well, that started a conversation about her experience with her financial advisor, who is I. Push come to shove, or not push come to shove, long story short, like, she's referred those people to me. So there's little touches like that that you can add to your workflow, to your client experience, so that you are memorable, so that you are referable, so that you are marketable, all these things, okay? All right, I'm gonna get to Q&A in just a second. I'm almost done here. And then you wanna create a marketing strategy. So how's workflow different than marketing strategy? So marketing strategy, let's just like really high level, right? Do you want to write a blog? Do you want to create a YouTube channel? Do you want to start a podcast? Do you want to, there's just a lot of different things. Do you want to do seminars, right? Do you want to do lunch and learns? Do you want to do Zoom meetings with group coaching? Like, sky's the limit, but you got to have an angle. And then you can't have 17 angles. Like, pick one or two angles, like A/B test, see which ones you're getting the most traction around, and then go hard with the one that you're getting the traction around. Like, I built Jumpstart basically off of my YouTube channel. The reason why most of you are here right now and have worked with me before and paid for services and products and are even on this live right now is because what? You saw a YouTube video, right? Okay, so YouTube is kind of my primary platform, or was my primary platform for a very long time. And I just doubled down on YouTube, hired a coach, improved my video, all the things, so that more people were coming into my email list that will potentially need what I have at some point in the future. That's all you got to do. You can do it with financial services. You can do it with selling shoes. You can, like, that's just a model that you can use. So some of you guys are at, or potentially at, broker dealers or firms that don't allow you to do that. And that might be a sign that you don't need to be at that firm. Like, you need a marketing angle and a strategy to attract clients. The idea is that people start coming to you, right? Like, most of you out here, most of you on this live, I did not come knocking on your door and beat down your email inbox with, hey, buy this from me. What you saw is, as you were scrolling, maybe you're searching in day in the life of a financial planner, maybe you were searching in how to become a CFP, maybe any of those search terms, then YouTube served up videos, and then you saw my face and you were like, oh, what about this? And then you watch more, and then you watch more, and you were hopefully getting more and more value, and then that's why you're here today. That's everybody. Whenever you have an offer that meets somebody's desire, then the magic happens. And what you want is people coming to you because your offer is so good and it already matches what they want to do. You feel me? That's how you want to build that, okay? And then you get approved, okay? So you have to don't do what I did. I'll tell them on myself real quick, and then I'll give me a second here. Okay, so this is what happened. I left and go ahead and load up the chat with questions. I'll get to these in just a second after I tell my story. So I worked for an RIA for 6 years, 2010 to 2016. In the summer of 2016, I left and started my own firm. Well, when I started my own firm, I made a mistake. And I don't know, I have to go back through the Texas legislature investment advisor stuff, but it was a 5-figure mistake. And what I started doing is I started advertising. I had signed my first client even before I got approved. You can't do that. That's a no-no. So like, you may have people that are like, hey, Alonzo, hey, Minnie, as soon as you start your firm, Don, I want to give you yada, yada, yada. So just let me know. And that could be really exciting for you. So you're already trying to find a custodian or take a check for a financial planning fee. But don't do that. Don't be like Dominique. I had a really nice regulator that approved me and gave me some grace. But you might not have someone so nice. And you can't take any money for giving investment advice or financial planning advice or any type of advice under your RIA until you're approved. So get approved first. Get that letter that says you are approved to do business in yada yada state, and then go to whoever client or whatever person wants to work with you, and then move forward. Okay, so that's just some best practices. Okay. All righty. Minnie, yes, right now I'm getting financial coaching clients, so the investment advisor side is create a harmonized service instead of sending them out to other advisors. Yeah, so business model wise, you can kind of do whatever you want. I'm not as familiar with Canadian law as I am US. Over here, if you're going to give investment advice, you have to have an RIA. You can do financial coaching all day, twice on Sunday, without the licenses and all the stuff that we talked about tonight, but you can't touch investments. So you can have budgeting, I help with credit, I help with, debt pay down, all the things. But as soon as you start giving investment advice and charging for it, then you need to be an RIA. That's here in Texas or here in the US. But to your point, find a model that works with you. If you want to start bringing that in-house because you know how to do it, I'm assuming that if you start an RIA and you hold out that you do, and you market to people that you do investments, that you actually know how to do investments. I'm just assuming that. That's table stakes. I'm not advocating for anybody to start any type of firm that they can't deliver on the promises that they make to people. Not saying that's you, Minnie, but I'm just like that. The assumption is that you can do that. And so, yeah, if you want to do that, because you can do that, and you don't want to outsource it all the time because, it's hard to find people you trust or all the different things that come with that. You sit all this time with clients and then they go over there and hear, piece of errant advice, and then you're having to correct that and yada, yada, yada. It gets messy sometimes. All right. So I don't see too many more questions. Let's talk about what is happening this Friday. So if you're listening and we're listening, or you're here now, we just went through the 10 steps to launch your RIA. Now, you could definitely do this on your own. I did it on my own. There's plenty of people that have done it on their own. However, I have created a done with you solution that walks you through these 10 steps in a more friendly environment. Let's say that, right? So some of the things that trip people up is once you start having to talk to the regulators, or once you have to fund your FINRA account, or any number of those 10 steps. Obviously, you can kind of go awry, right? So that's why I created the RIA Launch Academy. Okay. This is 12 weeks with yours truly walking through the 10 steps, right? You're going to get access to a portal. You get access to all these different things. I'm not going to go through all that right now because we have an interest call on Friday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. to kind of talk about everything that's involved in it if you want to launch your own firm. If you've been listening to this and you're like, I think I might want to do that in the next 6 months or so, or something like that. This would be, this is going to be the last one for 2024. So the next RA Launch Academy won't be until 2025. So if you're thinking about launching in the next, probably, I would say 6 to 12 months, then you probably want to get in on this. Okay. So what you need to do in order to do that, and I'm going to just paste this on the screen so that you don't have to, give me a second here. Oops, that is not what I wanted to happen, but give me a minute. There we go. Okay, so if you want to join the RA Launch Academy, you need to text RLA to that number, okay? And that will, there we go, make that a little bit bigger. That will get you the information registered for 4 o'clock on Friday, and we will talk about all the things for the Launch Academy, okay? So this Friday, 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, 4 p.m. sharp. Don't be late because it's a Friday and I have things to do. So they're going to be waiting on you, okay? All right. Let's see. Hey, Will, what's going on, man? Is there a specific time of year based on your knowledge that is better to start the app process? The app process... What do you mean by that? You mean just the registration process? What are you saying when you say app? While you're doing that, I'm reading through the comments here. Your financial advisor sent you an edible arrangement of fruit. I love that. That's actually a good idea. I like that. What should we look for when choosing a platform? Does everybody have the number? I'm going to take it down. All right. If you need it, I can put it back up. So, if you clarify, I will hang out and answer your question, my friend. Oops, hold on a second. That's not what I want. I want this. All right. What should we look for when choosing a platform for an RIA? I'm referring to LPL, Raymond James, etc. So your RIA, I'm trying to think about how to explain this. Because it's nuanced. It's a loaded question. It's a good question, Tom comment, but it's a loaded question. So what we just went through is the, and I'm sorry, my back is hurting a little bit. I'm trying to sit up and look into the camera correctly so that the video quality will be great. Okay. What we just went through, top comment, is how you would form an independent firm. Meaning that when you bring $1 into the firm, you keep 100% of that $1. Most people, having gone through all this, no matter where they are right now, they only want to go through this one time. It's like going to the dentist and needing a root canal. You don't want to come back. You just want to do that one time. So if you're unplugging from a Raymond James or an LPL, you're doing what I said right now. You could go to another platform. You could go to another roll-up, or corporate or RIA. There's a lot of them out there. All those different structures, that's the nuanced part I don't want to get into. But like I'm saying, if you're with LPL or Raymond James or Ameriprise or wherever, and you're listening to this right now and this is attractive, we're talking about you no longer are going to be with those people. You're going to be 100% you. Now, granted, there's some trade-off, right? So let's say LPL is giving you a 95% payout because you got so many assets under management, and they're only charging you basically 5% for that platform fee. So you got to weigh the pros and cons of 100% on my own, compliance on my own, all the things on my own, but I own it. So even if LPL gets bought, I don't have to worry about it. Like I have a buddy had a really great setup with his firm. Well, but he wasn't a partner, and his partners sold the firm to a private equity firm just this year. And now he has to find a new home for all his clients. So if he had his own RIA, he wouldn't have to worry about that. His next business decision will be, when does he retire? So that's what we're talking about here. So we're talking about the end of the line as far as what you own. We're not talking about plugging into something else to eventually maybe own something down the line once you unplug for them. That's not what we're talking about. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay. All right. So this is Will's question. Is there a specific time of year based on your knowledge that is better to start the app process? Not really. Because if you're doing a state registration, it's really just going to be quite honest, the luck of the draw of who you get as a regulator to. So the thing to know when you are filing your registration is it's almost like your initial registration is your first audit. Look at it that way. Like they're going to be going through everything with a fine-tooth comb. And regulator Susie and regulator Bob in the same office might do things a little differently. Bob might be having a really great day and Susie might be not. Like you do get the luck of the draw kind of stuff like that. I've seen that happen. Now granted, Bob and Susie are using the same template in that same office, but that's just what state regulation is. It is what it is. It is definitely luck of the draw. So there is no like, it's better to do it at this time of year type of deal. Nah. Now there are certain states that are easier than others. I will say that, but easier is a relative term, but it's just like disposition and like how many files, like New York, for instance, people would think this is highly rated. New York, I've had no problems out of New York. New York, I've done some of my shortest filings in New York. Alabama was a booger bear. Missouri was a booger bear. So it just depends. So hopefully that helps. So generically, I would say you should be, and this varies, man. So let me just tell you what you're going to be paying for. That might better direct you, because every state, as I showed you, is a little different. So you got your state registration fees, which are annual. Okay. So it's usually a firm registration fee and an individual registration fee. That's annual. The next thing you're going to be paying for is your technology and what's going to run your firm. That's going to be your next biggest cost in your, like a fixed line item. So what software do you choose to run, right? Like I have my own software. I've created a solution. I partner with somebody to create an advisor-specific software. My CRM, my website, my calendar, all of that's in there for one fixed cost for me, instead of having to have Zapier or Redtail and all these different things, right? And that's just my operational software. Then I got my investment management software. I have my financial planning software. I have some tax software, just because of how I run my firm. So really your costs are going to be your technology. And then the third thing, so you got state registration, you got what's going to take to run your firm. And then you may, depending on what custodian you go to, you may have to pay a platform fee. Platform fee just means like, so for instance, let's just say you have 50 million, 60 million in assets under management. You do a lot of trading. Well, some platforms are like, do you want to pay per trade and you absorb that cost? Do you want to pass it on to the clients, which typically nobody wants to do that? Or do you want to pay one flat fee, let's say 15 bips a year, do all the trades you want, right? So that's a cost too. So it just depends. It just really depends. And this is the reason why I do stuff like the RIA Launch Academy, because you need to be able to know, based on the type of firm I want to run, I'm just checking the time, guys. Based on the type of firm I want to run, these are the things I need to be looking at. right? Because everybody doesn't need like my whole setup, right? It really depends on who you want to serve and the type of firm you want to run. So I hope that helps. It's really hard to say overall startup cost, but I've just given you like categories there. So another great question, AUM. So when I help people launch their firms, I tell them to add as many spokes to the wheel as possible. What do I mean by that? Well, think of your RIA as you're selling at least 4 to 5 different types of products, okay? So that your revenue model will be robust. AUM is one way you can get paid. It's a very popular way and it's easy to explain to clients. But you could also receive financial planning fees. Like you can charge somebody for a financial plan, whether they have AUM or not, and you can get a fee from that. You could also sell commission products if you go fee-based, like annuities, insurance, disability, health insurance if you want. If you're life and health, licensed, right? You could do hourly. You could do hourly, right? You could do a retainer, a fixed fee retainer. So people don't have all their money's in a 401k and you can't manage it right now, but they do have enough cash flow to pay you, $1,500 or $1,000 a quarter for your advice. So like, there's not necessarily a set amount of AUM. If you just want to be kind of like a one-trick pony with just AUM and that's all you want to do, that's up to you. Nothing wrong with that. I would say it really depends on that first number of cost and expense that you're having, right? So let's just say you need $10,000 a month. Let me get my calculator out to live off of. Okay, let's just say that included running the business. Well, 10 a month is 120 a year. Okay. And if you charge 1%, that would look like a $12 million book of business. Just AUM. Okay. Just AUM gives you 120 gross revenue. And then you got taxes and all the other kind of things that come out. So, I hope that maybe that helps. Lux Show, make sure you text. Did you text? You should be coming to the thing. I don't have my phone out right now, so I don't know who's signed up or whatnot. I'll put this number out here just one more time. So if you're interested in starting your own RIA, I will be holding a interest meeting, informational session on what the RIA Launch Academy will be for you, how it could help you, the done with you solution to help you launch so you don't have to do it on your own. Okay. Of course, this live is great. Hopefully you're getting a lot of value in it. I'm answering your questions, but at the end of the day, if you do want to launch, you need to text RLA to 817-670-9572. Okay. I'm looking. Minnie, you're saying how much should be in your RA account to start? If you mean when you're funding your original account, like opening up your bank accounts, like literally, I've helped open RIAs that had 0 on their balance sheet. So it's not necessarily a number. This is going to be state specific. Canada obviously maybe be a little different too. Maybe province specific. I don't know. I just have no idea because I've never launched a firm in Canada. So, but in the US, there's not a specific amount that you have to have per se. Now, I will say, depending on the state, I have seen this. I have seen where they want you to have a certain amount sometimes, or a bond. Every state's not like that. Sometimes you do have to have a bond or a specific amount in the account. But like, again, it just depends on the state. Okay. All right. Just one more question here, and then I'm gonna have to hop, guys, and go get the icy hot on the back. When just starting, what's a reasonable amount to charge for your fee? That's a really hard question to answer because it depends on your expertise and what solutions you're offering. There's not like a just charge this. Now, I will say when it comes to assets under management, you're going to be hard pressed to charge more than, let's call it 1.35% a year. And that, as people put more money with you, they're going to want that percentage to go down. So I'll just say, typically speaking, 1% as a fee for assets under management is pretty competitive and kind of what people expect. So, all right. We are going to wind it down, ladies and gentlemen. I hope this has been helpful for you. Make sure you like the live. You guys have put a whole lot of comments on here, so I appreciate it. What was I about to say? I was trying to do two things at once. Give me a second here. Let me, I'm checking another system here. Okay. This is what I would say to you. I would say that your launching of your firm needs to be done with a lot of care. Okay. Again, the launching part is the easy part. You still have to run a business. You still have to get people to sign up with you, right? And that, again, that's what we talk about in the RA Launch Academy. I think the business part of it, like the logistics of it, is the part that everybody like thinks about and they're kind of scared about, and I get it, but that part will pass. Like I said at the top of the hour, it's a part that goes away, and then what you need is the ability to attract people. Okay. All right. So 817-670-9572. If you text RLA to that, we will talk to you on Friday about the Launch Academy. Okay. Have a great evening, everybody. Thank you for participating. I really, really appreciate it. Okay. We'll see you guys. Bye.